MCP servers. Let's talk about them because I have been doing loads of research into them. I've been playing around with them myself, and to be honest with you, I'm just trying to work out the real use case for them. And everything I see online for MCP servers, I kind of take a step back and I think actually that in a real business setting, that actually has really no value and it probably won't work. Um, and this is kind of one of the most important things, right? And what I talk a lot about on the channel is kind of making sure that you're spending money on AI and automation that's going to give you a return on investment and that you're actually going to use it and there's real value in it. So one of the things I keep seeing is people building MCP servers that are connected to like their Google Calendar. And it can like create events for you, delete events, it can send emails and all this kind of stuff, right? So, okay, it might speed up a few things. But the real use case of that is if, are you really going to be using that in a really busy business? Are you really going to be going into somewhere to then ask it to do that task for you when you might as well just do the task yourself? So look, before we get into it too much, let me just explain kind of in the most basic form from my understanding of what an MCP server is. And I'm going to stop calling it an MCP just because I don't want to confuse anyone that's completely new to AI and automation. So effectively what it is it's one AI tool, one AI kind of imagine a box up here, and that's going to talk to lots of other tools for you to deliver an outcome. So all it really is an AI agent that can talk to lots of different pieces of software and do a task for you. Now, the best way to explain that is if I go to, I've got N8N up here to show kind of how to build it and show you the logic of it. But if you go to Claude, Claude is like a really good example of this because you can see exactly how it works. So this is Claude, this is your AI agent, right? This is kind of your brain. And then what you can actually do within Claude is you can add in loads of add connectors, right? So these are all of the apps that you can integrate into Claude. And so you can go into here and say, hey, Claude, can you please do X, Y, and Z? So whatever that might be. I had Trivago up here. We got loads of other ones. Got the S&P Global. You got Indeed for job searching. So you can basically go in and ask it to do lots of different things and then help you, basically use these apps for you, right? And then you can add your own custom ones as well. So we can put in the name and then we can put in our MCP URL. So that's kind of like what all it is one AI agent talking to lots of different tools and choosing the right tool to execute the task that you want it to do. Now, if we look at like the use case for that, for me, is going to be some more of the complex things that we want to achieve, right? So if I look at some of the use cases that we've got, so anything where if you've got a RAG agent, so anything there where there's lots of there's lots of data, that's going to be a good use case, right? So if it connects to like an LLM or like an internal system where you've got like CRM database, you've got lots of product, that's going to be a good use case, right? Because it will be able to pull in lots of information for you really quickly and give you the output really quickly. The other use case is going to be probably what I'm looking at doing with a lot of clients, which is around lead gen, okay? Because there's a direct ROI that you can measure to that. So, we can start to build out an MCP server that populates databases for you. It will go to the one we're building at the moment does a HTTP request to Apollo, and then I can say to it, hey, find me 10 CTOs in London that work for companies of 50 people or less, and it will go and do that for me. It will give me the information really quickly. So that's another good use case. Where it doesn't work very well, as I kind of mentioned earlier on the video, is like around simple, like silly little like life tasks, right? That you're never ever going to use it for because it doesn't make any sense to do it because it's almost going to be a longer process prompting your MCP than just doing it yourself. Like if you're coming off a call with a client, you're not then going to go to MCP and say, hey, book a call with so-and-so and send them a follow-up email. You're probably just going to do it there and then. Yes, okay, you might save a minute, but it's not going to be so measurable that it's going to make a massive difference to what you're doing. So what we've got up here. So this is just a quick N8N workflow, and I'm just going to show what like an MCP kind of real basic looks like. So the first thing you want to do, we want to have an AI agent. Okay, cool. So this is our brain, effectively. And so we want a chat model. Let's just go OpenAI. Let's go OpenAI here, and then we've got we'll leave memory out for now actually. And then we've got our tool, and what we can do is we can go MCP client tool. Great. So that's going to be our tool, and we can add in many of these tools to this. And so what that looks like, if we're going to pull this up over here, we now want to create that tool. So let's say, and again, this is just an example to kind of show how this works. So for instance, let's use my Apollo one, for instance. Apollo's a lead database that you can have. And then what we can do is we can actually build our MCP client. So 2 seconds. So what we want to do, we want our server trigger here. So what we've got is, so this is just a good way to visualize it, is you have your you've got your main AI agent, and you're going to have different ones of these. So if you might have, this might be our Apollo one, we might have a different one here, we might have a different one here, and so we might call this our Apollo, we might call this our Airtable, because it will be our database. And let's say we want to call this one enrichment, because actually what we can do is we can run an enrichment into those contacts, right? So if I'm just going to rename this Apollo MCP, and then I'm just going to take the one out of here. So what we've now got is we can now add in another tool. So what we now have, and then another tool. So this is just, again, a good way to kind of visualize this. So we've got our Apollo MCP. We're going to put our Airtable MCP, and then we're going to have our enrichment MCP. So enrich MCP. Okay. So now what's going to happen is, and I'm not going to get this up and working right now because I don't want the video to be around this. This is just more for like a visualization of what an MCP does. If we have each of these tools, and so we've got our Apollo, and then we've got our Airtable, and we can actually add in a tool for Airtable. So we can go here again, an Airtable tool, and we can go, okay, well that's our get operation. We can then just copy that, and that might be instead of a get operation, we might have create or update, and so on and so forth, and you can kind of understand that. So the way this works is, and this is the way MCP works, is that you would have this one agent that's connected to lots of these other tools, and then those tools call upon your other agents, basically. And so we could run a question in here, and it might be like something like, find me 10 CTOs within London in companies less than 50 people. I want you to upload them to the CRM system and enrich their details. And so it would call upon all of these tools that we've built in, and then it would do that for you, right? Now, again, that's a very, very good use case for this. But I think, like I said, like a lot of the MCP stuff I'm seeing online and from my own kind of research and trying to figure out just exactly what the use case is for me, myself, and our clients, a lot of it just doesn't make any sense. And I think this is kind of where the bubble of kind of AI is being, the narrative of that is kind of being pushed, because there is not a lot of use case for this, in my opinion, that delivers genuine ROI to a business, right? Most businesses have absolutely no idea about AI and automation. It's very unlikely they're going to start adopting MCP servers. Now, yes, in some cases, probably going to be, there are going to be those use cases, right? I think lead gen is one of them, because I think there's so much within lead generation and having a good database and good data and doing all of that, removing all of those tasks and literally being able to go to an agent and say, find me X criteria within a certain region within a certain company size, even certain company funding is going to be great, because you can then run campaigns specifically, and you can start, building out those campaigns, really relatively easily. Where it doesn't make any sense is the day-to-day life admin. There are so many videos of people selling MCP servers where, you can book in, it can control your Google Calendar, and it can control, your diary. And it doesn't make any sense to me, because from a purely business perspective, no CEO of a business or any founder of a business is going to use an MCP server to do those things. One, because they're probably just going to do it themselves, or they have an assistant and they're going to do that. And do I think an MCP server is going to replace an assistant? Or probably not. Like, again, the use cases right now for me, I just feel like they're too small to really do. And there are, like I say, there are definitely use cases for it, but I think they're very, very small compared to what the market is portraying these MCP servers as. And like I say, you can go to Claude, and you can do this and play around with this yourself. And you can, they've got loads in here already, right? That you can just add in yourself. Because it's MCP is a Claude idea, right? The people, it's a Claude thing. And you can add in loads. Look, there's absolutely tons in here. Or you can you've got desktop extensions. You have, you can even add your own custom stuff in. So there's stuff in here that I've not even seen before. So I'm just looking at it now. And I'm just like, what is the use case for connecting Spotify to an MCP server? I don't know. Maybe someone else can tell me. Like, if it's just for you to play around with, then go for it. Like, if you just want to play around in your day-to-day life and get used to it and understand technology, then great. But if you're a business that's genuinely interested in AI and automation and looking at building strong systems for your business, right now I don't see how MCP servers do that personally. Or I don't see how there are enough use cases for the majority of businesses. And I could be wrong, right? Challenge me. I definitely could be wrong. I'm just trying to work out myself. I've got another screen over here, and I'm just trying to work out myself what is the use case. I think I wrote some notes down earlier. Where was the other notes I had? So I just wrote down where the MCP actually works is multi-system retrieval, right? So alongside a RAG agent, I'm using a load of buzzwords here again, like if you're not familiar with it. So using it alongside other agents where there's lots of information across lots of different systems, and you can effectively communicate with all of your systems and software, right? And that's that. I see that as okay. That could be great. Where else? I basically came up with more reasons why it doesn't work than why it does. Where was my other? Like personal productivity, like infinite app control was the other thing. So the idea that your MCP can control your Notion, Slack, Gmail, and anything else, like that's just AI that's completely over-engineered, right? And so it doesn't make any sense to do that. Like, in my opinion, you're just over-engineering it. And then this idea of I think we're kind of in that phase of like one-click everything at the moment. Like, we just want everything we want it all to do it for us. Sorry, I was actually on the screen here. I'm still on connectors. So, I think first of all, like, understand the use case of an MCP. Like, fundamentally, it's just one AI talking to a bunch of other AI, right? And it's just software talking software, or whatever you want to frame it as. Understand, like, before you jump into this idea that you need to have an MCP server, I think you just need to understand the use case for it, and are you actually going to use it? Because there are plenty of examples of businesses implementing AI and then not using it, right? No, I could be wrong. Fundamentally, I could be completely wrong, and I've not done enough research, or I don't know enough about it from what I'm looking at and what I'm seeing initially. Building an MCP server for lots of things makes no sense. It's expensive, it's laborious, it's time consuming, and there are such better ways to get more efficiency and more value out of your AI and automation. So let me know in the comments what you think. Like I say, happy to be wrong, and I'm keen to see where this MCP hype goes, and if there really is an AI bubble.